Mother Teresa of Calcutta has been for decades a beacon of hope for millions of people around the world. Her life was marked by unwavering sacrifice, absolute dedication to the most needy, and a faith that seemed immune to any adversity. Her image, immortalized in photographs and accounts of her tireless humanitarian work, shows us a woman dressed in her characteristic white sari with blue borders, holding the hands of the sick, caressing malnourished children, offering comfort to the dying. To many, she was a living saint. To others, a mystery. But there is something most people don't know, a secret that has remained hidden for years and could forever change the way we see her. If you want more hidden revelations like this, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Don't miss anything. Before we continue, declare in the comments, "I attract prosperity and happiness into my life. I am worthy of all the riches of the universe, and I receive every blessing with gratitude." In her final days, when her body could no longer bear the weight of the years and illness advanced relentlessly, Mother Teresa made a chilling confession. A message that was not directed at her devoted followers, nor at the Church, nor at the Vatican. Her last words were not for priests, bishops, or religious leaders. Her warning was directed at a man who, at that time, no one would have imagined as the recipient of such a revelation: Donald Trump. Yes, the same magnate who, for years, represented unchecked luxury, financial power, and unrestrained capitalism. A man surrounded by wealth, controversy, and immense ambition. Decades later, the world would know him as the most controversial president of the United States. But back then, Trump had no intention of entering politics. He was nothing more than a successful businessman, known for his extravagant buildings, real estate empire, and media presence. The inevitable question is, why did Mother Teresa, in her final moments of life, feel the need to warn a man like him? What did she see in Trump that led her to give him such an unsettling message? How could she foresee that years later, he would hold one of the most influential positions of power on the planet? What you are about to hear could completely change everything you thought you knew about Mother Teresa. Because although her legacy of service and charity is undeniable, there are truths that have remained hidden, truths that the Church has preferred to keep secret. And the most unsettling part of all is that these truths could have altered the course of history itself. To understand the true meaning of this final revelation, we must first discuss an aspect of Mother Teresa's life that few people know. Behind the strong and determined woman the world admired, there was someone who, in private, fought a devastating internal battle. For over 50 years, Mother Teresa suffered a deep spiritual crisis, a silent torment that only came to light after her death. In personal letters she never thought would be published, she left behind evidence of her most intimate pain. "Inside me, everything is darkness and emptiness. I do not feel the presence of God. I feel abandoned." These words, written by a woman revered as a symbol of unshakable faith, reveal a disturbing truth. Because if even Mother Teresa felt the absence of the divine, what does that mean for humanity? Many have asked, what led her to experience such darkness? Some believe that her constant exposure to human suffering shattered her spirit. Others think that God was testing her faith. But there are those who claim that Mother Teresa discovered something so shocking that she could not share it with anyone. Something that led her to lose all hope, and that, in her final days, pushed her to warn Donald Trump. In the late 1990s, when her health was rapidly deteriorating, and she knew her time in this world was coming to an end, Mother Teresa asked to speak to one man in particular. It wasn't the Pope. It wasn't a religious leader. It wasn't a church figure or an influential politician. It was Donald Trump. For reasons that still baffle many, Mother Teresa felt that she had to speak to him, and what she told him in that brief conversation has remained in the shadows for years. Think about this. A woman who had dedicated her life to the poor, the forgotten, those who had nothing, seeking out a man whose life was built on wealth and power. The contrast is overwhelming. But the most chilling part of all is that, when decades later, Mother Teresa's words took on a terrifying meaning. If you've made it this far, tell me in the comments what you think about this prophecy. I'll be responding to the best comments. For some reason, that remains a mystery. Mother Teresa saw something in Donald Trump that others did not perceive. With her last breath, she felt the need to warn him about a future he himself could not yet imagine. A future in which his influence would not only move fortunes, but determine the fate of millions of people. Perhaps she saw in him a hidden potential, or maybe she sensed a looming danger. But what is clear is that her warning was not just a casual conversation. It was a message that seemed to transcend time and space. It is said that the conversation was brief, yet it left an indelible mark. With a voice weakened by age and the weight of her own internal doubts, but still carrying an unshakable certainty, Mother Teresa spoke words that, at that moment, seemed like mere advice, but with time turned into a chilling premonition. The world will place immense power in your hands, and when that moment comes, every decision you make will shape the course of humanity. Your hands can be instruments of light, or they will be stained with blood. Trump, unsure of how to respond, was left speechless. To him, those words made no sense at the time. He was not a politician, had no interest in public life beyond business and entertainment. Why would a woman like Mother Teresa, who had spent her life among the poor and the dying, address him with such a powerful warning? Perhaps at that moment, he thought it was just the words of an elderly woman in her final days. Perhaps he listened with respect, but dismissed them as insignificant. But history has shown us that some warnings cannot be ignored, because the improbable happened. Against all odds, Donald Trump became the President of the United States, and with that title came the weight of history. From one day to the next, Trump's decisions no longer affected just his businesses or public image. Now every action had global consequences. What were once business strategies turned into policies that affected human lives. What were once speeches meant to entertain crowds transformed into messages that divided entire societies. And with that power came the consequences. Borders turned into walls. Families were separated by laws that many deemed inhumane. International relations reached a level of tension that pushed the world to the brink of unexpected crises. Every signature on a document, every decree, every word spoken, became pieces of a puzzle we are still trying to understand. The effects of his presidency were not just political or economic. They were social, cultural, and even philosophical. Because beyond immigration policies, beyond international treaties and military decisions, the Trump era marked a turning point in contemporary history. But now comes the most unsettling question. Did he truly listen to Mother Teresa's warning, or did he simply ignore it? If we analyze his path and power, it seems that the words of that saint were forgotten. But was it an intentional disregard, or was it simply an inevitable destiny? This is where the story takes an even darker turn. Because if you thought Mother Teresa's warning was meant only for Trump, you are mistaken. Her message was for all of us. She left behind a truth that humanity has ignored time and time again. Power without empathy destroys more than it builds. Wealth without purpose becomes a curse. Faith without concrete actions is nothing but an illusion. But the most disturbing part of all of this is that the church has silenced what she truly discovered in her final years. Because if even a woman like Mother Teresa, a symbol of devotion and service, experienced a profound spiritual crisis before dying, what does that mean for the rest of us? What did she see in her final days that led her to lose hope? Some believe it was the overwhelming human suffering that broke her spirit. Others say it was a divine test of faith. But some claim she uncovered something greater, something the church never wanted to reveal, something that compelled her to leave behind a message not just for Trump, but for the entire world. A message warning us about what is yet to come. Because history is clear, those who ignore the warnings of the past are doomed to repeat the same mistakes. But those who choose to open their eyes, those who accept the responsibility of their actions, those who understand that every decision, no matter how small, has the power to change the world, are the ones who can truly make a difference. Now that you know this story, now that you are aware of what the church does not want you to know, the real question is, what will you do with this warning? Because the story of Mother Teresa is not just a tale of the past. It is a reflection of the present and a warning for the future. And if we ignore what she tried to tell us, we may be walking straight toward the very fate she tried to save us from. Now that you know this, I leave you with this video where we reveal another shocking secret. Click here before it's too late.